This girl from my school, her name was Bree Lance. She's in New York right now. She's going to Cornell University. She's like, Shauna, I know you like poetry, you got to go with me to sing. It's really neat. And she kept giving me flyers. And I fell in love with the place immediately. I mean, there were so many people in there. Just the feel of it was so nice. And so I went, I think that next Friday, and kind of sat around. I remember when I came in, I was late, and so everybody was clapping. They're like, yay for the late person. And I was so embarrassed. So I just sat down and waited about 30 minutes. I read my first poem, my first poem out loud, but now I look back on the poem and I'm so ashamed of it. But, I was happy at the time, and it was like, oh, you did good, you did good. That's just where I went to feel at home. Dave used to call us the kids in the back. Remember that? Because he didn't know us until I started reading some poetry.
I was absolutely terrified of the place because the car broke down at the gas station across the street. And so we were kind of walking around trying to find like a phone because we didn't want to call collect and we didn't have any change. And so we kind of walk up to NoOne's and we look in the window and we see a face and we just start running. And so I go up there and it was just really cool, really laid back place, I enjoyed sitting there listening to people, do their poetry and stuff. I really didn't do much poetry because I'm really, it's really personal to me, my poetry is, and so I like to read the group poems and stuff, and when people were too afraid to read their poems, I'd read them for them, and it was just a really laid-back place, and after a while, it became like family.
I'd say it was at least 65% women. I would say under the age of 30, mostly under the age of 27. Like on several nights, I was probably the oldest one there. Yeah, kind of scary. But it kind of ranged in age from 16 or so. I think little Jen was probably the youngest up there to, maybe up to 30, sometimes roundabout.
The slam was so variable. It was pretty interesting. When I first started coming, there were probably only maybe, 15 people there. 15, 20, around that number. And at its highest point, I remember we couldn't pack the people in. There were so many people that you pretty much had to wait for somebody to leave before you could make it in the door. And at that point in time, we probably packed over 50 or 60 people in that really tiny place.
Ooh, all kinds of interesting and diverse and very political and angry, especially angry, some people, and weird people, yeah. Do you want names?
Isn't it nice on the soapbox? If he's sheriff, he's sheriff. He's a sheriff, he ain't sheriff. Sheriff.
It's called Tryptophan and Tyrosine. Tryptophan and Tyrosine met in a bar on the apex of a full moon. Tryptophan juggled salamanders in a silent corner, occasionally strafing waitresses who squawked empty contempt. "This place is fucked," said Tyrosine, sat down on a brown glass bottle and grinned. Tryptophan dropped a flailing lizard for the first time this century and replied, "I think I was once a hell of a lot happier, but I'm fairly certain I was just shallow." Tyrosine agreed with a spastic nod, plucking glass and dropping the pieces in the ashtray. Tryptophan decided to skip 6 months of bliss and 15 days of hell and just rip both of their hearts out, ground them together, and set them clumsily aflame. Tyrosine put out the fire with a fork and said, "I love you, you fucking asshole."
Now this is a little old school stuff here, so bear with me. Young May, 2 in the morning, whiskey, moon, pieces breaking through the trees like memories. Cool breeze runs her fingers through my hair. Crickets sing drinking songs, or maybe we just think they do as we pass the bottle. 4 of us total, talking about sex and love, being unable to separate the two. Jeff sat straddling a rail like a cowboy, bottle in his rope hand, gesturing. Women are easily understood. Their only difference is they bleed. I catch overtures against the trailer, small but neat for bachelors. I am alone. My mind writes poetry and contemplates how it all seems hanging on the leaving of April. And they have codes for it. For Michelle, it's flowers. For April, it's deep down south. They never tell you, but after 2 months, you'll be sure to know. Don't ever get in a closed place with a woman with PMS. You might as well shoot her. God will forgive you. After all, he's a man. He'd understand. They love differently. We are logical. We don't feel, except maybe too hard or much. Women will test you, then respect you, or break your fucking heart. I'm a red-eyed poet, editing my soul with whiskey, friends. Still, the leaving of April seems superimposed upon the smooth moon above, barred by trees, as the wind blows just enough to twist the light and bend my mind. Memories allow me to be now and then, 2 places at the same time. Our first night together grew in texture and solidity inside my libido. April categorized her name with tainted lips, lies, or maybe just double meanings. Jeff helps Chris to bed, falls on top of planted flowers in each other. Jason laughs and blows chunks of strawberry pie on my bare feet. Friends, whiskey, memories, the moon full white rising smooth, watching 3 drunks and a poet stone sick on thoughts and words. Pain is always there. We only get used to it. We all live in pain, mental, physical, spiritual. Jason dry heaves as I think of the beginning of April. I missed you. Silence. Please don't say you haven't dated anyone lately because of me. I can't tell him I don't love him. That would hurt. I just want to let things go slow, quiet. I've got friends visiting from deep down south. A boy man runs naked, crying out loud the name of a woman he never knew meant so much to him sober. Chris will wander back. Jason sleeps. Jeff hangs his face out the front door, vomiting. I grasp everything. How everyone wants to be happy. We're all grasping for it. How hell is paved with good intentions. How the moon is a beautiful mistress. How good friends are, and how whiskey burns out truth. There is no one meaning, but hundreds of tiny little meanings to life. I see them all. I want to write them down, but I am too tired. I sleep. Morning. Jason sleeps. Chris's head hurts. Jeff still hangs out the door. I try to write, but it's like someone trying to tell someone what exact time it is to the second when the hands keep moving. The only thing that I still remember through all the mental haze is that goddamn phrase, the leaving of April.
Like there was this one guy there. He was older, and he had a southern accent, and he always read poems about rivers and the forests and trees, and that was kind of his theme. And then there are the angry women.
You want to know what I think? You know what? I bet you don't even care, because you'd know what I think if you'd have been there, but you never stayed long enough to see what happened next, and you never tried hard enough to see past the sex. You knew what I wanted, you just didn't care. You trampled on my emotions for as long as I was there, and I cried about it then, but I think about it now. You've always been an asshole. I just didn't see it somehow. And now you come back to me, but this time I don't want you. You think you're so great, and you think you're so strong, but you know what, baby? I think that you're wrong. I think that you're weak, and I think that you'll break, and if you think you can have me again, well, you made a mistake. Why don't you get your shit and go? You're someone I wish I'd never had to know. You never cried apologies to me before. Why don't you get the fuck up, walk the fuck out that door?
Okay, so I have to tell you though, I read this one last week. I always have to say something.
It's got a dissertation.
It's okay. I read this one last week, and yet again, I'm sitting down at Mullins before I came over here writing. And what is it about people that when you're writing, they feel the need to talk to you?
Amen.
I don't get it. So, we're reading. Reading just about anything, So, here we go. I just want a pack of cigarettes. I do not want to talk to you. I don't want to know your life history, and certainly don't want to tell you mine. I just want a pack of cigarettes. I just want a beer. I do not want to sit next to you, tell you my name, and definitely don't want to go home with you. You are old enough to be my dad's dad, for Christ's sake. I just want a beer. I just want to dance. I don't want your hands on me, your groin pushed up next to me at my stomach so I can feel all that you are not. I just want to dance. I just want to write. I don't want to talk on the phone or go out. I don't want to talk about you or me or us or them or life. I just want to fucking write. And that's it.